Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Megan Gill and I'm the Head of Registration. Today you will learn what the annual report is, what is required from you, where it is displayed on the public register, changes to the annual report, and how to access and submit it. What is the annual report? It describes your charity's activities and financial affairs for the preceding 12 months. Its contents are published in the online public register of charities and helps to inform donors and the general public of what your charity has done to further each of its charitable purposes, who your charity has helped, how your charity has raised and spent funds, and where the benefits of your charity's work were felt. Why is the annual report important? First and foremost, it is the law. Section 52 of the Charities Act 2009 requires that every charity submit an annual report. It is the law. Section 52 of the Act requires that all charities must submit an annual report. It informs donors and the general public of your activities. Aside from complying with the law, submitting an annual report provides charities with an excellent opportunity to showcase the good work that they do and to demonstrate their commitment to good governance, transparency, and accountability. Annual reports are due 10 months after your charity's financial year end date. For example, if your charity's financial end of year date is the 31st of December, the annual report is due on or before the 31st of October of the following year. Your annual report's information is displayed on the public register in your entry. It can be found under the tab Finance and Activities. The register is an independent verification of your charitable status. It contains information from your annual report. It is the authoritative source of information for service users, donors, the wider public, and media. Therefore, accuracy of the register is critical. It is regularly visited, and we've had over 90,000 visits this year to date. It plays an important role in increasing public trust and confidence in registered charities. What information is needed in the annual report? As part of the annual report, you'll be asked about your charity's compliance with the Charities Governance Code, and my colleague Elena will cover this later in the presentation. You will need to describe your activities during the reporting period. Particular care should be taken to demonstrate what your charity has undertaken, what your charity has undertaken activities in furtherance of its charitable purpose. For example, a charity with the purpose, the prevention or relief of suffering of animals, should make it clear from the description of their activities that they are actively and exclusively pursuing this purpose. Where a charity has one or more charitable purposes, it should be able to demonstrate the pursuit of each purpose. You will be required to provide us with the details of your charity's gross income and expenditure. This includes the sources of your charity's income and how much your charity has spent on staff costs over the year. Now I'd like to introduce you to some changes in the annual reports which are introduced in January 2022. The first one is in relation to your financial information, and this is the automatic calculation of inputted figures. This change is to improve the accuracy of the information provided in annual reports. There's the information regarding employees. The change is that we now require the actual number of employees. The change is to provide more accurate information regarding the numbers of people working in the charity sector. Information regarding volunteers. The change is that it now excludes trustees from the number of volunteers, and the change is to provide clarity on the figure being requested should be the number of volunteers excluding the number of trustees of the charity. Assets and liabilities. The change is to include information on assets and liabilities. This change will assist the charities regulator and the public to better understand the financial situation facing individual charities and the wider charity sector in line with the principle of transparency and accountability. audits. You can now indicate in the annual report form whether the financial statements have been audited. This information will allow the charities regulator to determine the total number of charities that are audited each year and also monitor the type of audit opinions that charities receive. This information will not be visible on the public register of charities. Information on international transfers of funds. The change is that you are now required to provide information on international transfers. Why this change? The Financial Action Task Force, of which Ireland is a member. It is an intergovernmental global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog that produces recommendations and standards to ensure a coordinated global response to crime. Charities have specifically been referenced by this organisation as organisations which are at risk of being used for the purpose of money laundering and/or terrorist financing. In order to provide increased transparency around the activities of charities and to enhance Ireland's reporting to this organisation, we are now capturing the levels of international transfers of funds by charities in Ireland. We are now requiring certain information on financial transfers into and outside of Ireland. We are aware this is the first year we are asking for this information, and we acknowledge charities may not currently have systems in place to capture this information. And we would ask for your best estimate this year, but we would expect next year that you would be in a position to report accurately, and we have information on our website to assist you in completing this. Now, how do you submit your annual report? Through our online, you may only submit the annual report through our online portal, My Account. To access My Account, you need a customer service account linked to your charity account. What I would ask you to do after this webinar is to ask yourself these 4 questions. Do you have a customer account? Do you know who has access to your customer account? Do you know your login name? Do you know your password? There are 3 common issues that users have in logging into My Account. 1, you have forgotten your password. 2, you've forgotten your username. 3, you are not set up as an authorized filer. We have a range of resources to help you. Our step-by-step guide provides a visual overview, while our how-to video takes you through each stage of the process. Our user guides for charities also offer guidance. All of these can be found on our website and should assist you in accessing your account. And last but not least, the Charities Regulator does not have the power under the Act to grant extensions, so please do not request them. Any document you wish to send to us must be uploaded through our online portal. There is a 5 MB size restriction on uploading files, so you may need to split files or to shrink them in order to upload them to My Account. We do not accept hard copy annual reports, and I would ask that you please check your access to My Account today and ensure that you have access so that you can file your annual report on time. Please remember, October the 31st is a bank holiday. The last working day is Friday the 28th of October. I'm now going to pass you over to my colleague, Yelena, who will talk you through the Charities Governance Code, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Megan. Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Yelena Grushenko. I'm Head of Compliance Monitoring. The purpose of my presentation is to explain how to declare your compliance status with the Charities Governance Code and how to keep your Governance Code declaration up to date. As you know, the code was developed in consultation with the sector, with the charities sector, as a tool to help charity trustees to comply with their legal duties and responsibilities, and to make sure that your charity is effectively managed and controlled. The Charities Governance Code has 6 principles. There are core standards that apply to all charities, and then there are additional standards for more complex charities. There is a lot of information available on the website in relation to the Charities Governance Code, which includes guidance notes, templates, some videos, and I will also provide a few links throughout this presentation. So how do you declare your charity's compliance status with the Charities Governance Code? This is second year that charities have to report on their compliance with the Charities Governance Code. And as Megan mentioned, compliance with the Charities Governance Code is declared as part of your annual report. You will need to go through a couple of questions, and these questions will depend on your compliance status with the Charities Governance Code. You can declare that your charity is either in full compliance, or it is in partial compliance, or it is not in compliance with the Charities Governance Code. If you declare that the charity is in full compliance, that declaration will be visible on the public register of charities. If you declare that the charity is in partial compliance, you will have to indicate the standards you are not compliant with, and you will also have to provide an explanation for non-compliance with those standards. And you will have an option to have that declaration visible on the Register of Charities. And if you select that option, then the declaration of partial compliance will be visible on the Register of Charities. And the standards you are not compliant with will also be visible together with an explanation for non-compliance with those standards. And if you are not in compliance with the Charities Governance Code, you'll have to provide an explanation for non-compliance, and that declaration will not be visible on the Register of Charities, but that may change from next year. And what I will say here is that make sure that you provide an accurate declaration. Some charities are concerned that if they declare that they're not in full compliance, that they'll lose their charitable status. That is not true. Your Governance Code compliance declaration does not have any impact on your charitable status. So as I said, make sure that you report correctly. There's a new option available here, prefers not to say. If the charity is not in compliance with the Charities Governance Code, this should only be used as a placeholder in exceptional circumstances. For example, maybe somebody who is going through the annual report does not have all the information that they need to complete this section, so that the submission of the annual report is not delayed. They can select this option, prefers not to say, and complete the annual report and submit it. But then they can go back at a later stage and update the status, the compliance status, once they have the information that we need. And as I said, this should only be used in exceptional circumstances, and this is something we will be watching closely. So how to demonstrate compliance with the Charities Governance Code? To comply with the code, you have to comply with all applicable standards set out in the code, and you have to complete a compliance record form. A blank version is available on the website, so you can use that. And we also have some sample completed compliance record forms on the website as well to help you with that. In the compliance record form, you'll have to set out actions you have taken to comply with each standard, with each applicable standard within the code, and then reference the evidence that you have to support your actions. For those who completed their compliance record form last year, you don't have to do it from scratch again, but what you'll have to do is you'll have to go through the form, review it and update it where needed. You have to make sure that the form is still accurate and up to date at the time of submission of your compliance code declaration. And in terms of the standards, you'll find, if you find that any of the standards do not apply to your charity, you can simply tick them as not applicable. But once you comply with all applicable standards, you are in compliance with the Charities Governance Code. As I mentioned, you can pre-submit your Governance Code declaration at any time following the submission of your annual report. To do that, you'll have to log into your My Account and submit maintain Charities Governance Code status form. And we have user guide available to help you with that. Just to finish off this presentation, some of the key challenges which we have identified as part of our engagement with charities last year. So the first one is in relation to board appraisal, and we have some guidance documents and templates published in response to that. On a practical level, it's about how well the Board of Charity Trustees is performing in relation to their legal duties and responsibilities, and in contributing to the success of the organization. And the board should also assess the effectiveness of its board meetings as part of every evaluation. And as you know, board meetings are important because this is where charity trustees exercise their collective authority. And also from the Charity Governance Code point of view, your board meetings will form evidence for a lot of standards within the Charity Governance Code. Another area is in relation to term limits for charity trustees. There is a suggested maximum of 9 years. This is only a suggestion based on standards of good governance, but all charities, different charities may have different term limits for charity trustees. And if there's any trustees on the board who's been there for more than 9 years, there may be a reason for that. For example, maybe you find it difficult to recruit new trustees, or maybe somebody has certain skills and experience that can be hard to replace for charities. But once you explain the reason for that, and once all of the trustees are happy and understand the reason for that, then you are in compliance with that standard. And also we have updated our guidance on succession planning to include a section in relation to the term limits for charity trustees. It is an important conversation to have, and this guidance can be used as a framework to have that discussion at board level. And then the last area is in relation to risk management. And again, risk is important. It's about if something happens, something unexpected happens, how will I respond? And it's not about trying to eliminate all the risk. It's about trying to identify all potential risks your charity may face, and then actions you can take to minimize the impact of those risks. And again, the guidance document is available for charities, and there is also a sample risk management policy that charities can use. So that's the end of my presentation. As I said, a lot of information is available on the website. Thank you.